All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Liverpool Reaction and American LFC podcast. You got a very happy coach and myself. Liverpool
Yeah,
win 2-0. Coach, how are
yeah.
you doing?
I think there's going to be billions of Liverpool fans worldwide who are got the biggest smile on their faces today after that game.
Yeah, what a game. Cody Gakpo gets the scoring started and Salah finishes it off like he normally does.
Yeah,
This guy's incredible. Coach, pretty dominant performance, especially the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I thought we easily could have won this game 6-0.
yeah. I think both the game today and also against Real Madrid, Liverpool were dominant basically, and I think if you were only to criticise them for one thing, is that in both games they could have put the opponent to bed long before the second goal. So tremendous performances, and I think for the first time we're starting to see a team that is truly in the image of the coach.
Mm-hmm.
What I feel he's been doing so far this season, obviously he's navigated it brilliantly, but I think it's been a long transition in terms of getting to know players, maybe doing some things that Liverpool had done previously, maybe changing some things as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the opponents, obviously Real Madrid and Manchester City, they may not be in the best run of form, but in theory they are the top two teams in Europe.
Yeah.
So I think I think he showed his hand more in these games than he has in previous games, and has gotten out to the team what they're capable of doing.
Absolutely. The only misstep I can think of that comes to mind is Virgil when he tried to get fancy, but De Bruyne couldn't put it away. Thank God. He lost it to De Bruyne, and then Kelleher. My God, didn't have much to do, but was there, made the save.
Well,
Coach.
well. Really, was that Manchester City's only chance of the game?
Yeah.
Because certainly one thing that the manager likes to do is, and we saw this against Aston Villa, is have the team drop in deep, man up in the box. Because they obviously Guardiola brought on his wingers, and you could see what he was trying to do, and they're tricky, but there was just nowhere that they could go in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
They could maybe get to the byline, or they could get into a position in the penalty box, but there were just so many Liverpool players there. Liverpool just sealed off the area.
Yeah, Doku was dangerous when he came on. He was. I'm surprised he didn't come on earlier because he was the threat that Manchester City had. He was the only threat really. But Coach, you just go down the line. Kelleher didn't have much to do, but made the one critical save. Van Dijk and Joe. I thought Joe Gomez was excellent too. Van Dijk and Joe Gomez were marshaled Holland very, very well. He didn't have a sniff all game long. And then Trent looked back too. He was spraying balls left and right, putting balls over the top for Mo. He looked excellent. Robo on the left-hand side looked very well. The team, when you kind of look at the overall performance and you go individually, just throughout the whole 11, they were all like 8 out of 10 plus. They were very, very good.
There were no weak links.
Yeah.
Absolutely no weak links today. And it was interesting because when he started to sub, I thought it was interesting what he did when he brought on Jarell Quansah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the immediate thought is, he's going to put him into the middle and then put Gomez over. Because Gomez is a very good one-on-one defender, and Gakpo, as you say, is dangerous. But obviously, the manager knows his players, and he's smart because he put Quansah out there and gave him, kind of a limited job to do. If he comes in the middle of the field, he's got to be looking all sides.
Yeah.
Very much it's okay. It's me versus him.
Right.
And I thought that was smart from the perspective in that Kwanzaa, since that first game of the season, he's had those League Cup games and he's been unlucky with balls deflecting off him and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought it was a nice way to transition him back into the team.
Yeah.
And I thought he did well, and he also got forward, and he looked good going forward too, because he's athletic, he's powerful on the ball, and I just thought that was really good management by Arne Slot there. So there's just a catalogue, a whole list of positives about today beyond the result, and obviously it's encouraging going forward.
To say the least, yeah.
Understanding, yeah.
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 I was for most Liverpool games, I don't sit down. I stand about 10 to 15 feet from my TV. I head every ball. I kick every ball, and we were only up 1-0 at halftime, and I was just thinking to myself, like, okay, they got a lot of quality on that side. They're not playing well. We're dominating them, but man, one maybe stroke of genius from one of them, or one little mistake, and we're back to 1-1. But I mean, Van Dijk could have had a hat trick just heading the ball. I thought we were more powerful. We were bigger. We were stronger. We were faster. I mean, all facets. And Van Dijk was, very unlucky not to score at least one, but probably could have had three. And in the midfield, I mean, Gundogan and Bernardo Silva had no chance against our midfield. Szoboszlai was excellent too. McAllister was just pulling the strings quietly from the back. Gravenberch was being athletic and physical. I mean, just the whole game was. I was just so impressed with how well they all played, Coach. I mean, let's talk about the midfield, because that's something I highlighted on our last podcast. I thought the midfield was where the game would be won. What were your takes from the midfield? I mean, granted, we won in every phase, but what was your take of the midfield?
Well, I think that what was interesting was I think we both expected Curtis Jones to play because he was so strong against Bayern Munich.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see why.
Real Madrid. Yeah.
Sorry. Who did I say?
You said Bayern Munich.
Yeah. They both got the same shirts, right?
Right.
Anyway, so. Yeah. Where was it? I can see why he favors Szoboszlai in certain games, because what Szoboszlai does, he's energetic, he's a powerful runner, and he leads the press, and that is his role. Whereas Curtis Jones has developed a lot. He's clever on the ball, he's cute on the ball, he has all these. So I think he's pretty well set in terms of McAllister and Gravenberch. I think that those are his two players, and his primary rotation in that position is going to be Szoboszlai and Jones. And both are excellent. Both bring a lot to the team. And it depends how he wants to play a particular game.
Yeah. And then the defense. Trent is. This was highlighted by one of the commentators. Trent is looking. No, I don't think Trent was a bad defender, but he got a lot of stick under Klopp because he was getting up so much into the offense that he sometimes labored back and his legs would get a little bit tired. And under Slot, he has been more solid defensively because I think he's not wasting a lot of energy going forward, and he's tucking in. And I thought he played really well, and I thought even when Doku came on, Doku got by him a couple times, but he also got in there and got stuck in.
Yeah, I think the whole thing about Trent being defensive is totally overblown.
Yeah,
and you've highlighted the main reason why. I mean, when Jurgen Klopp was manager, the role that he was incredibly high up the field. And after a while, teams would always drop a player onto the left-hand side.
Yeah.
And so he was always having to recover. And I think I've only ever heard one pundit kind of point this out, that, he was having to get through tremendous work rate at both ends of the pitch. And okay, maybe it's not his strongest part of the game, but I don't think he's bad either.
Yeah.
And maybe some will tend to point that out, because his other strength, and I hear numerous pundits, that while they criticize him for being bad defensively, cannot say enough about what he brings to the team in terms of the balls he plays forward, his vision.
Yeah.
And I think his role has been modified under Slot. I don't think there's much emphasis that he plays high up the field. I think that what Slot has him do, whether it's wide or central, because when he instigated the move for the first goal, he'd come into the center of the field, is that, he plays like a playmaker. Whatever position he's in, he's a playmaker. Whereas I thought that with Jurgen Klopp, there was a certain amount of that, but there was greater emphasis on the overlap, getting in behind the defense, playing the ball across the box. And I don't think that's required of him quite so much under the Slot situation.
One thing I noticed too was Joe Gomez. He's actually pretty good distributor of the ball. He was playing balls over the top as well, diagonals. I mean, we love Joe Gomez because his versatility. He doesn't seem to complain about anything, and when he gets his chance, he's there. He's not sulking about anything. He's in there. He plays hard, and I was worried with Konate being out, but Joe Gomez just did a fantastic job, Coach.
Right. I think the worry with Konate was he's been dominant.
Yeah.
And so you're losing a totally dominant defender who's on form. So I think that was the worry. I guess the other side of the coin, though, is Joe Gomez is an excellent defender. As I said earlier, he's very good one-on-one, and he is comfortable with the ball. I can't think of anybody in the Liverpool team that isn't comfortable on the ball. I think it's a requirement. If you're going to have a team that's competing at the highest level, you've got to have players that can handle the ball. And so he's not deficient there in that area. And he was excellent today. And it seems like Konate's out for a few weeks. And I think in Gomez, we have somebody that can come in, take the position, and we won't miss a beat.
It's unbelievable. It really is. We raved about Connor Bradley on Wednesday, and then something happens to his hamstring, but thank God Trent's back. And then Konate on the last 3 seconds of the game, gets ran into, and then Joe Gomez slots in. And Virgil was massive. I don't know how he didn't score. He was all over the place. And one other thing, Coach, I noticed was Cody Gakpo was physical with Kyle Walker, and Kyle Walker couldn't handle it. Every header, every long ball that was played to him, he was winning the header and running around him. Now, Kyle Walker is very fast, but I was just overall, Cody Gakpo played so well down that left-hand side. And Coach, we just mentioned Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones, interchangeable depending on what we need. Two very good options. Luis Diaz and Cody Gakpo, two very good options depending on what you need. Good Joe Gomez and Konate now. Wow. Trent and Connor Bradley. Coach, we're our backups are no slouches.
They're not. I think one thing that's been overlooked, obviously Manchester City and Arsenal have had significant injuries. Yeah. I don't think Liverpool in some previous seasons, last season, and then the COVID season when they lost the whole central defence, had bad injury runs. If you look at the team that Slot would put out if everybody was fit. He's missing Alisson.
Right, Alisson and Keller, yeah.
He's missing Konate. And, he's missing Jota as well. I think those three players would all be starting regularly. But at the same time, Liverpool does have a lot of quality. And the way it appears to be, certainly up front, is he's going to rotate. Salah's going to be a constant, although I think there are a couple of games coming up where he may not play him.
Yeah.
But Salah's a constant, and then the other three, he's going to rotate them as he feels fit. And I mean, they're all great choices. And Liverpool are strong in every department. One thing that I think is very, very interesting, and I know that when I'm writing and everything, one thing that I like to point out about Manchester City is they have this fabulous academy, but yet they seem to overlook the players.
Yeah, Cole Palmer is a good example. Yeah.
If you look at the Liverpool team that played today, you've got Kelleher, you've got Trent, and then you've got 7 of the 9 substitutes are academy players.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe 2 or 3 of them are there because there are injuries, but the point is that these boys are all playing, and I see that after a long time out, that Jayden Dance came back today and played with the under-21s. He came on as a sub. And so in another couple of weeks, potentially you have another really good young academy player that might be coming into the mix if he's needed. So things are ultra positive. And after the game, 9 points ahead of Arsenal. I think Arsenal have impressed in the last week, I have to say.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of pressure on them because I think psychologically they have to feel that they can't drop games, and I'm not sure who they play on Wednesday. I'm just looking right now. Yeah. Oh gosh, they play Manchester United.
Right. And they look good this morning.
Yeah. I didn't see the Man United game, but my gut feeling is that they might have a manager that that'll get something out of them over time. It'll take time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because Liverpool looked at him seriously, and rumor was that if Guardiola was to leave, that he was somebody that City would have looked at.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of tells its own tale. And that'll be an interesting task. But I saw the Arsenal game and they were very impressive. And now Odegaard's back. They're a different team, totally different.
Yeah, and I mentioned this also on Wednesday. The fixtures are looking a little bit easier. No game in the Premier League is easy, but they're taking on teams that aren't at the top of the table. So.
Well, I think for Liverpool, I think for Arsenal, and I think for Manchester City, it's actually the next 2 games that will tell a lot.
Yeah. Because,
okay, we've got game 1 out of the way and everybody in the Premier League. Although, is there a Monday night game tomorrow? I think there might be.
I don't think so, no.
No, there's not. Okay.
There's one on Tuesday.
There's one on Tuesday. So
2 on Tuesday, yep. Mm-hmm.
So every team plays 3 games. So you have a situation now where Liverpool are 9 points clear of Arsenal, 11 points clear of Manchester City. Are they going to take the foot off the gas? They have 2 interesting matches in terms of Newcastle away, who are one of those teams like Tottenham, like they're unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
And like you could play them on a certain day and you could be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Other days, like they look a little bit of a soft touch. But I mean, in front of their old fans, I'm not anticipating an easy game. Excuse me. And then you've got the Everton game. Now, I didn't see the Everton game today, but apparently they they took a bit of a roasting. So I think we know what the Everton Derby game will be like in terms of it's going to be physical.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to pack it in. They're going to sit back. They get any restart, any chance to put the ball into the box from a corner or a free kick, they are going to be organised and on it.
Yeah.
And if they get any encouragement, whether it's a goal or it's keeping Liverpool out, then the game is going to be tougher. That is not going to be an easy game. 7:30 game, Klopp's favourite time. So we're talking about in American time now, aren't I? But 12:30 in England.
Yeah.
So that will not be an easy game. Now Arsenal have got 2 games. They really have to go into their games thinking, that they've got to get maximum points. They can't afford to drop points. Manchester City now. I find it still hard, even though I thought they were poor in a lot of respects today. I still find it hard to rule them out because they do have players coming back, and they are capable of going on these runs. But how are they going to handle their 2 games this week? So, out of Liverpool, Arsenal, City, is anybody going to take maximum points? And I think that this is the intriguing game. These are intriguing games for Liverpool and for the other teams as well, and for the Premier League, because I think that a lot will depend on how the 3 react this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned on Wednesday that, sorry, not Wednesday. I think we did it on Thursday. Friday, maybe even.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay, yeah, I'm all over the place. You mentioned, well, okay, it's nice to beat Manchester City, of course, but also we have 2 other games and 3 in the week, and how are we going to manage that? And Newcastle away, Isak went off in the 19th or 20th minute with a hip injury.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I don't think it's too serious. It didn't look bad. It looked he just kind of bumped into somebody, but he couldn't continue for some reason. He's always dangerous. And then Everton, like you said, they got a roasting today, and but last game at Goodison Park, right, against Liverpool. You mentioned this a couple weeks back. Emotions are going to be high.
It'll be emotional. And I think it'll be all hands on deck for them, and they are going to battle for every ball. I mean, if it's a straight contest, then it's a Liverpool win, but I don't think it's going to be a straight contest.
Yeah, Coach, what's wrong with Manchester City? What's going on there?
I was maybe wrong about a couple of things. I thought he would play 5 centre halves, 5 defenders.
Yeah,
because he's been leaking goals. Now, my forecast was that he'd bring Stones into central midfield.
Yeah.
Now, Stones wasn't on the bench, so obviously he's injured.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that he could have done something like put a Kanji into midfield, because he's done that before.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why he didn't start Guardiola.
Yeah.
Because he's been a threat. He's a good defender, obviously, but he's been a threat for them going forward. So I don't know, is he injured or he dropped Edison, which was a surprise.
Yeah, that was odd.
So from a distance, it looks like he feels maybe a couple of the players have been liabilities. So I was wrong about that. And the other thing that I was wrong about was I didn't think he'd start Rico Lewis, given his propensity not to trust academy players.
Right.
And so he played Lewis, and as you say, he played him in midfield, and City were overmatched in midfield.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he could have been a little more pragmatic. And in that early phase of the game, really it was Jurgen Klopp football part 2, because Liverpool really took the game to City, and they created chances, and it wasn't a shock when Liverpool went ahead. So So yeah, I mean, he's got some picking up to do of his troops, but they've got plenty of good players, and will they buy in the January transfer window? I think he's left enough hints about that. I mean, I don't know how many subs they had on the bench today, but I know he's been deliberately putting less subs on the bench in recent games, and two goalkeepers, which
Mm-hmm.
are always kind of subliminal messages to the ownership. We need players. So, I wouldn't totally rule them out, but if you look at the game overall, I thought they were overran early in the game. And then they did what was kind of sensible under the situation, which was just possess the ball, even if they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And so we had kind of got that phase maybe after about 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't really creating. They only had one situation when Lewis got forward, and it was a pretty weak shot that was past the post.
Mm-hmm.
Second half, the only legitimate chance they had was the error by Virgil van Dijk. And I can't really think of anything else, because whenever Doku primarily got into the box, there were just too many red shirts there, and he couldn't really do anything.
Yeah, and also it's nice how when the ball gets out wide, the wingers track back. So Mo Salah was back there. So it was kind of 2-on-1 from a defensive standpoint, and they had to just immediately go back and try to go around. And it was just, I mean, and then on the other side, Cody Gakpo was tracking back to help Robo. And then if for some reason he wasn't back, then one of the midfielders would slide over. So it was constantly like they didn't have anywhere to go. And
yeah, Slot has really got the team well drilled. Like they know their roles, they know their responsibilities. They play together, and it's not just defensively. Some of the one-touch football by Liverpool was excellent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially through the midfield. I mean, I love when, it's a couple one-touch passes, and all of a sudden Szoboszlai's, got 30 yards ahead of him, and he's traveling with the ball, and it was just so fun to watch. And this is back-to-back games, dominant performances, best performances of the year against, like you said, two of Europeans' best. Granted, they are a little bit injured. And Manchester City, I think, without Rodri and then Kovacic not being in there to provide some sort of relief in front of that back four, I mean, it's just a disaster in the midfield for Manchester City. And Coach, you were right about De Bruyne. He came in late. I think he came in 75th minute or something like that. So it's, I mean, I'm just so happy that this is the team that Slot has kind of molded now. And, we said at the beginning of the season, we were going to be patient with him. He's got to understand the players. A lot of them came in late. There was a lot of stuff going on in the summer, Copa America, European Championship. They need to give them a break. International breaks, the teams go to, a lot of players go, there's 3 or 4 players go to South America, come back. That's a long haul. He's adjusted to that. I mean, we really, we have somebody special, don't we?
Yeah. One thing about Arne Slot, I mean, even if Liverpool goes on a bad run at some point, I mean, he's shown that he's a shrewd manager, a shrewd coach, and as I think we've said before, I think he's only really made one major error, and that was playing the South Americans against Nottingham Forest when maybe he should have rotated, and he's not done that since. So lesson learned.
Yeah. Well, Coach, 9 points clear. It's not even, it's December 1st. And,
Right.
You had mentioned several times that you were going to evaluate things at Christmas. But man, a little bit after Thanksgiving, and this is where we are. Teams playing well. Performances are getting better against bigger teams. I mean, what a bright future.
Yeah, yeah. So fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Fingers
the next
crossed.
two.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to tempt fate because you still feel it's still pretty early in the year.
Yeah,
And I know this season that Liverpool won the Premier League, that they were in kind of a comparable situation after playing Manchester City. I can't remember how many points they were ahead, but they had a good gap.
yeah,
And I think at that time, we kind of knew that Klopp had been there for a while, and the team was just so determined
yeah.
that probably nobody was going to catch them. A little more wary here because it is a first season for the manager.
Mm-hmm.
Lot has gone Liverpool's way,
Mm-hmm.
and things can change in an instant. And if Manchester City is truly down, then I think that we have the most open Premier League since the year that Leicester won it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Or
so
not, or not. Liverpool's just going to run away with it potentially. I mean, there is a potential of that.
I would like to think that, I still feel that yeah. Let's hold off making that
No, fair enough. Fair enough.
kind of assumption because I just think, as I say, that so many things have gone well for Liverpool. And I mean, how many times in a season do you have everything going perfectly? So they have a run coming up, and there's the 2 games this week. I think that'll tell a lot. Then they have 3 games, which is a Champions League game, which really is a dead rubber against
Right.
Girona,
Yep.
which I have to believe that he's going to rotate for that.
Yeah, I think so.
Because if they lose, so what?
Mm-hmm.
And they've got Fulham, who obviously, like they held Tottenham today.
Yep.
Fulham, and then they've got a League Cup tie at Southampton. And I think he might make a couple of changes for Southampton, but I think he'll put out a strong team because, like they're getting close to Wembley and maybe a trophy. And then you've got the 3 Christmas games, one of which is Tottenham away. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, you've got your 3 little phases. And I think as we turn into the new year, if Liverpool's in this kind of situation that they are now, then I think they'll take some stopping. But yeah, there's a lot of games between now and then.
For sure. For sure. So far, so good. I think
So far,
yeah, yeah. Well, Coach, thank you as always for joining me and your insights. Liverpool fans, we're dreaming for sure. Coach Slots really has done an excellent job. The performances of the last 2 games have been outstanding. And, on to the next away at Newcastle. Coach and I will be back at some point this week to talk about that one.
Yeah. And I hope some people will subscribe to our pod here.
Yes, please. Anyway, guys, thank you as always. Yeah, please subscribe. I need to say that more, don't I?
Because we've only done the video for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah. We're getting the hang of it, though. At least we're recording.
Feedback and some thoughts.
Absolutely.
And if there's abuse, maybe friendly abuse.
Sure. Or not. We don't care. Coach, thanks again. Everybody take care, and on to the next one.
Okay. Bye, everyone.